Saleh and Rashid are old-time friends who graduate from the same university with similar qualifications and that same youthful drive to build their careers. They join two different companies and start working hard. Saleh joins a manager that can only be described as terrible. He doesn't give him any challenges or learning opportunities or projects or give him a room to learn and grow. Soon, Saleh starts to get frustrated. Whenever he gives his manager an idea or initiative, the manager crushes it down. He looks for ways to develop. He goes and gets a master's degree to promote his career. Now, the manager, starts to get worried and scared, and instead of passively stopping him, he makes his life miserable. Saleh knows he is overqualified and under-challenged at his organization. Even after 5 years there, he still feels like a fresh graduate. Yet, he now has a family, a young family, and he feels like he can't really take that risk and go somewhere else. Fact is, talent management has crushed his dreams and failed his potential and is failing him. Saleh is not alone. 1 in every 4 employees worldwide is actively disengaged, and the rest are not so engaged. When we zero in on that millennial group, that generation that is now almost mid-career in their 30s, we find that almost 70% of them are planning to leave your organization in the next 2 years. That's a big drain of talent. And when we ask them, almost 90% of them say that career growth is important, and many of them are dissatisfied with that. And it's not just millennials. Nearly 70% of everybody else also says career growth is important. No matter where you are in your career, you care about growing and learning and developing. Now that's on the employee's side. What about organizations? Do we listen? Do we understand those needs? Well, not really. 2 out of every 3 companies do not give employees that opportunity for a career conversation, a plan, and a discussion of their aspirations. A very simple thing is not there for our employees. There's no wonder why that gap exists and why talent management is failing not only Saleh, but everybody else. So what happened to Rashid? Well, Rashid, on the other hand, joined a fast-growing organization that was looking for hard-to-find local talent like him. With a technical degree, he excels at the technical job. He does really well at solving problems and achieving performance, and management takes notice. Rashid was on the fast track of growth. He was a high potential. In less than 5 years, Rashid is promoted to manager. He thinks that he's achieving his career objectives. Yet, now the new position requires a new kind of focus. From thinking about his own job and tasks to managing those of a team. From using skills, technical skills that he was taught at the university, to using leadership skills and management, things that he wasn't trained for. From thinking about his own performance to coaching a team, it's easier said than done. And he struggles. Some of the team members he's working with have many more years of experience. One of them has 20 plus years of experience. And Rashid doesn't know how to deal with people that well. There's a disconnect. The team doesn't believe in his leadership. They don't see why he should be the manager. Yes, he's technically competent, but he's not helping them work together. They don't believe in him. They don't listen to him. And soon enough, his team starts to get very frustrated and performance is affected. Now in this case, talent management has put the person in the position that they're not ready for. And talent management is failing Rashid's team and the organization. Rashid and his organization are not alone in this challenge. In fact, when it comes to filling the right positions, 75% of companies say it's harder this year than it was before. And I expect that to just increase. And the cost of, refilling these positions, if we remove Rashid and try to find somebody else, can be up to a third of Rashid's annual salary. That's a big expense. We want to fill the right positions and not have to refill them over and over again. And so often we keep these people in these positions even if they're not effective. And it's not neutral. It's very damaging. When we look at employee engagement, which is strongly linked to performance through so many studies, up to 70% of that engagement can be attributed to the manager. The manager has the biggest say in whether the people enjoy their work and perform it well. And it's not just that. When we look into the productivity measure, and productivity can decrease by 1 to 2.5% of the annual revenue of an organization on account of what we call the learning curve. What does that mean? It means when we hire somebody into a position they're not ready, they're going to learn. And learning takes time. And that time where they're learning affects productivity. And not just by a little bit. It can affect productivity up to 2.5% of the total revenue. That's a lot of money that is wasted because we're not equipping people to perform their jobs when they need to perform them. And if we think about the Rashid's example, we can see how it applies to so many other companies, and we can see how talent management is really failing them too. So, how many Salihs and Rashids do you know? And how many are at your organization? I think of talent management as this aspirational term, something we dream about, but it's very difficult to say that we have. Think of terms like this, like a culture of excellence or a learning organization. It's very difficult to say that you're a learning organization, but it's a continuous goal that you work on continuously and you try to achieve. And the same can be applied to talent management. The good thing about the term, it puts talent front and center in the way you do HR. And that's a great thing. It wasn't the way we did HR many, many years ago. Before, we used to think of HR as more like going to the grocery store. You see what you can find and you buy it. And if you can't find what you want, you look for an alternative. Now we view talent as important. So we're more like a farmer. We plan what we want. We go and sow those seeds and plant the seeds, and then we sow the crops that we need. And in between, from planting to getting the crops, it takes a lot of attention and patience and care and taking care of what you're doing. So that shift has been significant in the way we view talent and the people that work with us. Yet, let's rewind a little bit. Let's look into this definition of talent management, because how do we do talent management? It starts with how we define it. Let's take the textbook definition. I, for one, know the textbook definition. After all, I teach talent management for Masters of HR students. So let's take the CIPD definition as an example. According to CIPD, talent management is the systemic process of attracting, identifying, developing, engaging, retaining, and deploying high potential talent to serve your organization. Now, I know the textbook definition, but I also work in the field and have a lot of clients. And so I keep asking the practitioners, and I say, what to you is talent management? What do you do in talent management? And the answer is short and simple. Some organizations, they have a plan for succession for big positions. They sometimes also identify high potential employees and create growth, career plans, development plans, something like that for them. So look at the distinction. The textbook definition is like saying talent management is all of HR, while the practitioner side is taking a very narrow view. And in that sense, we can see where the gap exists. How can talent management fulfill its role if what we're doing is only one small bit of talent management? And if we want to aspire to fulfill that full role, we have to find a way to deliver all that talent management is without burdening ourselves. Let me give you an example from performance management, for example. A lot of companies approach performance management in a very narrow way. We have some forms we need to fill, there's a process, we need to do this appraisal at this time, and the traditional approach is very bureaucratic. And some managers simply do it like a tick in the box. Now, I'm sure you know from your own experience. How engaged do you feel, and how motivated, and how well would you perform if a manager treated you and just like a tick in a box, a robot? I'm sure it's not that well. Yet, if we want high performance, we need to build a high performance culture. We need our managers to set objectives with the employees and talk to them routinely about their feedback and give them, evaluations and engage them in that conversation. And we want the employees to be self-driven. And creating that culture of high performance will deliver the results that we need from performance management, whereas the tick-in-the-box approach will not. The same applies for talent management. Instead of a bureaucratic, process where we pretend that we're doing talent management, we need to move to a situation where every manager is a talent manager, rather than talent management being a small thing that HR does, not in a very effective way. We can see that narrowing down the gap and identifying that it comes from our approach to doing talent management from this definition gap makes a big difference. Next, let's see, if we want to do all of that in talent management, how do we go about it? It's wide impact. We've uncovered several L&D solutions with our clients, and we're happy to share them with you. Let's engage in some wishful thinking. If Saleh had a manager who was not terrible and cared about his growth, he would have, spent some time with Saleh early on, talked about, Saleh, where do you see yourself? And what skills do you need to develop? And how can I support you in achieving those skills? And bit by bit, Saleh's manager could have helped his development. Even if no new position had opened up in their department, they could have seen something elsewhere. And even if that wasn't available, Saleh's manager could have delegated some projects or tasks or challenges to make Saleh feel fulfilled, even if he wasn't growing in a position. Yet Saleh didn't have that manager. Now, Rashid was also failed by the system, by his manager. If he had had a manager who empowered him to learn how to lead a team before he was given the team, it would have made a big difference. Rashid would have been, empowered and given those leadership and management capabilities and the skill set that he needs to lead the team. He had a lot of technical skills, and he was good at them. But he wasn't empowered with the other set of requirements. And if Rashid had been, it would have, made a whole world of difference to his team as well. They would have believed in him. He would have let them perform better. And then ultimately, the organization would have achieved its objective from this talent management process. Now beware. We're engaging in wishful thinking. We're wishing that both had managers that did the right thing. In HR, it's not healthy to wish that people change, that we think of the specific person. What we are empowered and capable of doing in HR is building systems, and that's our strength. So rather than relying on a manager here and there, and I know in many of your organizations you have good managers, so sometimes do a very good job, but they're individuals. And if we want talent management to happen successfully, we need systems. So what's the solution? The solution for talent management, in my opinion, and in the work that we've been doing with our clients, and a lot of the research that's coming up, the golden solution for talent management is learning and development. Why? Simply because growth at the different levels requires a new set of knowledge and skills and abilities that we can develop. And if we have a plan of achieving those different skill sets, an easy system to apply, then people naturally develop and grow and fulfill those requirements at the right time. It's an organic process. It happens every day on the job, naturally, instead of being forced by HR, but it happens through a system that will allow it to. Think of, you're a farmer, you're growing your crops, you either have to water it by hand or you've built an irrigation system that waters the whole field. And that's what our system helps our clients do. Now, I hope I've made you keen to know more about the system, the inputs to it, how to build it, and what does talent management really look like, including succession. What does it look like with the system? And I'm keen to tell you from a case study with one of our clients how we were able to do that. Our solution is a comprehensive curriculum solution. One that enables the organization to know where the positions are and what learning is required at every level of the organization. What this will allow is for a person to know what is needed for them at this position, but also what is needed for them in every position and what they can prepare for in the future. Now, let me give you an example from an educational system that you might recognize before I tell you how this curriculum solution is unique and useful. So if many of you have been to university, you can remember that back then you had some kind of requirements of certain educational modules that you needed to fulfill in order to complete your degree requirements. Now, I know that business environments are different, and I'm not saying that they're the same, but it was easy for you as a student to know that these are the courses I need to take, these are the requirements that I need to fulfill. And in many modern day organizations as well, or universities, we even now have some modules offered online, some modules are face-to-face, some modules are assignment modules. And so you can map the entire journey that you need to fulfill in order to achieve a certain educational milestone. That is at the heart of the concept of a comprehensive curriculum design. And in that example, it gives you the difference between a comprehensive curriculum design as compared to something like a competency framework. Many organizations and clients that we work with do have competency frameworks, and that's a great step forward. Yet, our experience and also a lot of research tell us that many organizations have competency frameworks, but they stop there. They don't know how to move forward with them because the competency describes a certain level of skill, but it doesn't empower us with any solution for learning and development, and we don't really know what to do with them. And so the curriculum design, the curriculum solution is that step forward. Now, I also want you to know the difference between two terms. A comprehensive curriculum or curriculum design and instructional design. And sometimes we use the terms interchangeably in research and in the market, so I want to differentiate what we mean. When we talk about a curriculum design, in our case, we're talking about designing the full map of all the range of areas of knowledge and skills that are required and that are mapped to different job levels, for example. So I know that I'm a junior at this position, I need this set of skills, and if I want to go one step further, I need these sets of skills and knowledge, but I also have a description for each of these levels. That's the curriculum map. Now, instructional design is designing a specific instruction for that area of knowledge. So, for example, I want to deliver this area of knowledge through a workshop. So I will design that workshop, or an e-learning module, or through coaching, or through self-learning. And what I want to do is distinguish between these two because they're important. If you have a comprehensive curriculum design, it allows us to do instructional design easily. It allows us to look and say, oh, you know what? We don't have these modules on offer. We need to design these specific components in order to get ready for the next stage of talent. So a useful example is onboarding and orientation. Almost every large organization has some form of an induction program or an orientation program. For sure they do. Yet, when you dig deep, you will find that a lot of these induction programs are very general. So there is no difference if you are joining in one area, let's say finance or HR or a core manufacturing department or a retail department. There's no difference. Wherever you join, you get the same induction. However, if you had a comprehensive curriculum design, you would know that part of the induction process, let's say, is for an employee to learn a very specific area of internal processes or rules or requirements or regulations. And the curriculum design will tell you that that is needed. Now, for instructional design, you now have a need to design this content. And instead of all of it going to HR, who poor people cannot really design every single bit of learning you need in your organization, we can tap into our internal resources in the organization. So HR can say, we have this learning requirement. Can any of our people, can any of the members in this department work and create some content for us? What this also allows us to do is it allows us to say what mode of learning are we going to use. So in general, usually what we used to have is we had competencies, and then we identify the needs in the organization and we say, oh, it seems we need the time management this year, so let's run some time management training. Yet, we don't all learn time management in classroom. Who said that's the best way? Or online. Who said that's the best way? I might learn it in many different modes, and a curriculum map will tell you that you can learn this specific module in many different ways, or the specific component in many different modes. So we can give the option to learn this time management in a classroom, in an online or e-learning module, or maybe even through coaching. And what this allows you to do is that at the end of the year in the performance review process, you can sit down with your manager and tell your manager, I think I'm going to need time management to improve my performance. And I prefer to learn it through coaching. And you can even ask your manager to commit to coaching to you or find somebody to help you with it. And this removes the ownership of your entire growth and career plan and the progression and the succession planning. It removes the burden from HR to the employee and the manager. It's a very empowering process. And so here's what this allows me to do. From an employee perspective, this allows me to say, I'm a junior at this position. To achieve this position, I'm going to need to develop these sets of skills. In order to achieve these components, which I can see them in a map, in a physical document, I am going to need to develop these components. And this one I'm going to work on through a workshop. And the other one I'm going to take in self-learning. And the third one I'm going to ask my manager to coach me. And instead of L&D and learning becoming a once-a-year classroom that HR sends us to, it can be something that we do all the time, something that we plan ourselves. We take ownership for it with the support of our management. Of course, this also gives the ability for L&D to plan, because if I know that my employees, many of them need this workshop, I can offer it. I can design it and offer it. Now let's look at how this empowers management and L&D. So the employees can develop their career growth, their career plans. L&D can also identify those high potentials, those who are learning fast or achieving certain milestones fast. We can look into the results of the learning. We can also look into the performance results. These high potential people can be put on accelerated programs where I know, oh, look at my curriculum map. If I want to take this person from this position to that position, but this time faster, I need to provide them with those learning opportunities. And I can do that, and I can plan that because I have a map. What does this also allow me to do? It allows me to do succession planning very well. If I have a person in this position and I need to ensure the readiness for that position in the talent pipeline, I can look and see who are the other members and what learning opportunities I need to provide to them to get them ready. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh, this solution sounds like it's too easy. It's not very easy to build but it's so easy to use, and that's the ultimate purpose. The best test of a system is how user-friendly it is. If your employees and your managers and HR and L&D can all use this effectively and successfully, then that's a good system. And that's what we've been finding. So here's how we will do it. In order to build a system like this, it's a complex process. So here's an example from what we've done with some of our clients. The first thing that we will do is we will collect a lot of this data. Your job roles, the job descriptions, the any career plans that are there, any talent management plans that are there, the competency frameworks. A very important thing that we will also do is we will look at the future market. Are there any skills that are not currently available that will be required of these positions in the future? We will also compare to other industries and other organizations that are comparable to see what are the key areas of knowledge and skill that are required. So the first exercise is very deep. We will also meet people who work in these different positions to understand what skills and knowledge are required from them to perform their jobs well, and we also plan for the next step. Now, all of that data, we will do this exercise. It's a very strong mental exercise, and we will break it down into a curriculum map. Now, once the curriculum map is designed, we'll of course go back and refine it, check with the people that they've done it, that it fits their requirement, check to see that it's comprehensive and user-friendly and applicable, and then we integrate it into your HR information system. What that means is that it goes from a concept, a framework, to a tool that they can use easily, request things and apply things and accept things on the system where it keeps the records there. Now, after that implementation, we understand that it takes a while for people to get used to something like this. So we will support with the change management, the awareness sessions, the setting change agents, and supporting people and learning that this is good and useful for them. Now, once the whole process is done, you can expect a different way of doing talent management, and you can expect immediate results and successes. On my first job, I was young and motivated and excited. I used to be the first one in, the last one out, worked so hard. But I had a manager similar to Saleh's, and I would, continuously do so much, but the manager kept, finding flaws in it. Bit by bit, I got so demotivated and so frustrated. I was full of hopes and dreams of growing and doing things, and I found myself stuck in the same job for 3 years with no advancement and no learning and no growth. Later on, I got another job, and in that job, I was also, doing so much, and I was considered to be a high potential, high value employee, and yet my manager once told me that I should sit on the senior leadership committee, but I was considered too young. I've been both Saleh and Rashid, as you can see in the example, and my organization had wanted me to do things that they thought I wasn't ready for. The question is why? Why wasn't I prepared to do what I could have done and add the value that I could have added? Now, my personal experience fuels why I am so passionate about talent management. I see talent all around me. You are talented, and every person that you work with is talented, and we're all full of potential. And the question is, are we serving our full potential? And are we using that to advance the organization? Is the organization getting everything that it needs to in that purpose from us in each position? And the answer is probably no. The talent gap is there, and talent management, the way we're doing it, is failing us. It's narrow and bureaucratic. It's not the dream. We're nowhere close to that. Yet, I know from my experience, from doing this with my clients, that the comprehensive curriculum design solution will save you a big headache. With that solution, it takes a while to build, and it takes an effort to design. It's not simple. But the solution is simple and easy to use, and it can empower hundreds and thousands of employees in one shot. Rather than forcing hundreds of managers to learn how to guide people, we give them the system. We stop doing wishful thinking. We say, oh, I wish if I had a manager. Well, let me tell you, you're in HR to empower managers, not just with words, but with systems and tools they can use. And the comprehensive curriculum design is that. It is the solution to Saleh and Rashid and me and you and the organization's need for talent. And by using the system, we will make sure that everybody gets fulfilled, everybody achieves their potential, and that every manager is a talent manager. If you would like to know more about this case and example of what we've done with the curriculum design solution, make sure to get the resources that are with this talk, and you feel free to contact us and ask us any of the questions. Now we're also available to answer any questions you answer in the chat box or the comment section, so make sure you ask those questions and you engage in the conversation. I hope that each of your organizations will have a curriculum design that serves its purpose and its employees.